we letting everyone know what we found out last week?
I think we can let everyone know. So Lisa got distracted with cake and forgot our envelope.
Yeah, and what did it say?
It said,
It'll be the anniversary of my dad's death on November 9th.
You know what? I think your loved one would want you to be happy.
He taught me the way to love, and that's something that I hold close to me.
Still know God's a good God and Mum's up there with him, and I know what she'd want for my life, and so it would always be to be close to God.
Seeing Dad just weep over his sister was just something that I'll never forget. It was just one of those moments where God was comforting us.
And I think in that moment, he just showed you, it's okay to weep.
I find it really empowering thinking on the things that I know Dad would have wanted for my life.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Good Grief. We're so glad you're here.
There's been a lot happening recently. It feels like time's been flying. It's already November. There's so much been going on. We had a scan last week, an update on our bub. That was pretty exciting.
Yes. It's probably the last time I'm going to wear this dress because I could almost not breathe.
So I actually had to help Kaylee do the dress up at the back.
This dress, yeah. I love this dress.
Are we letting everyone know what we found out last week?
I think we can let everyone know.
Okay. How should we do this?
We'll just tell them.
Okay. We got a scan and we did want to find out if we're having a boy or girl.
And then what happened?
But we didn't want to find out at the sonographer. Is that the right word?
Yes, I think so.
So
in case it was a big shock.
Yeah. And so Lisa, lovely girl that's been helping us and scanning us, she was going to give us an envelope, with boy or girl in it at the end, but someone happened to be leaving their business or their workplace, and so they'd brought in cake for this person to celebrate, and the cake had their face on it.
So Lisa got distracted with cake and forgot our envelope.
So we're waiting at the counter they're like, all right, you're good to go now. We'll see you next time. We're like, well, we're kind of waiting on...
Kind of need to know who our baby is, so...
And so Lisa's out there eating cake.
But she got us her envelope. We went and got a piece of cake.
We did. Not from them. We went and bought cake. We went and sat in the car and we thought, all right, this is the moment.
Yeah. Storm was rolling in. We sat in our favourite place, looking over our coastline. And we thought, all right, let's do this. It's a little white envelope.
Yep. And what did it say?
It said, it's a girl.
It's a girl. So we're having a little...
Which we're so excited about, but it was a shock because we were just...
Yeah, with so many boys in our family. We just thought we were having a boy.
So many boys.
But as Faye, my lovely hairdresser this morning put it, oh, you're having a wee lassie.
We are having a wee lassie.
A wee lassie.
Thanks, Faye.
Thanks, Faye. So, we're having a little girl.
Yeah. And I'm the only girl grandchild on my side. So out of all the boys, I'm the only girl. So it only makes sense that we change that, that gene pool of boys first and
totally
only boys. So, it is very special. But it's a very special little girl.
Yeah. And but it's been a big month just in general. Lots going on.
Mm-hmm. What else special has happened?
Well, I don't know. Has there been anything else special?
Well, maybe you wouldn't call it special, but it's big.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
It'll be the anniversary of my dad's death.
Yeah.
On November 9th. Have I got the date right? I think I do.
Yes.
If you've listened to previous episodes, you would have heard...
You'll know our conundrum with these dates.
But it'll be 11 years in 1 week, just over 1 week's time, which is crazy. It just sneaks up every year.
Yeah.
Someone today was just asking me on Instagram, only a year into grief, and saying, does it get any easier? Sort of my explanation was, it changes. You grow closer to the pain. You understand the way that the waves come, and then the highs and the lows. And so 11 years, it's pretty big.
Yeah. You get better at surfing, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get better at riding those waves.
Yeah. At first they plummet you and roll you and you get held under for a bit. But soon you gradually get to your knees, get to your feet.
And stand up.
Yeah.
And last year we celebrated on the 9th. We actually went to the cemetery as a family, all of us.
Oh yeah, we did.
And then we went out for one of Dad's favourite meals. not healthy, but favorite
I can't
was
believe it.
was McDonald's hotcakes, and I thought that was really special.
Yeah, it was
'Cause
special.
We don't have that often. We'll make
No.
pancakes at home.
Yeah.
But-
We don't have that ever.
Hey,
I
maybe
don't
we
think
could
I've
do
ever
that
had
again.
that with you.
Are you
ever.
up for doing that next week? I'm up for it. We could do hotcakes.
Sure.
We
I'll
rarely
bring my own.
we rarely go to McDonald's, and we happen to have one like a kilometre down the road, which is
true.
pretty funny.
We could do our walk down there.
Which I don't even know if we've. I mean, maybe we've been there once or twice.
I think
but
for a
we've-
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's happening this month, and then we're also just coming today to the end of our prayer and fast.
Yeah.
We've been doing that with our church, and so last night,
For all who are wondering, I haven't been fasting
Yeah.
food.
Kaylee,
Not possible right now.
you are hungrier than a hippo.
I'm hungrier than two
So-
hippos. I feel like I've been eating for Ryan these last couple of days.
It doesn't make me feel any better because
Yeah.
today, I'll be finishing up at 4 o'clock. I'll break fast, and that will have been 3 days no food.
And I'll have had 5 meals already.
Stop. No, today I'm feeling all right. The last 2 nights we haven't slept very well.
No.
I think there's just been a lot stirring, but last night was probably one of the worst sleeps I've ever had. Cramping like crazy. We rushed out and got electrolytes yesterday, and I bought another one today. I was out here at 1:30 a.m. doing stretches, Googling how do I solve leg pain when you're fasting.
And what did they say?
Yeah, it was like, have you kept your water up? So that was a tick, but electrolytes, have you stopped exercising? Which we have to conserve a bit of energy. And then stretching.
Well, you have.
Yeah, you've been exercising still.
Yep.
Yeah. So I could say I've been fasting exercise as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all that to say, we've been praying for each and every one of you.
Yeah, for you guys.
And inside of our group, we also asked what prayer requests that you need right now. And we've been praying over those. So thanks for sending them in.
Yeah.
And if you're not in our Facebook group, come join. The links are below in whatever platform you're listening to. We'd love to have you in there.
Yeah.
But what are we talking about today? What's the topic?
Today we're talking about what your loved one would want,
And how do we know what they'd want?
right? Have you thought about it? I think people ask us or tell us, don't they?
Yeah, that's happened to me a bunch.
Mm.
Yeah, like what would be a scenario?
Yeah, they'd be like, you know what? I think your loved one would want you to be happy.
Yeah, that's a common one. Yeah. And it's said with good intentions.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
not like they're trying to throw you under the bus with something. They care for you, and maybe they just don't know how to support or care for you, which we've talked about on previous episodes. But, you know, in all honesty, it's coming from their heart, and probably your loved one would want you to be happy for you.
Depending on the person, how well they knew your loved one, yeah, you can make a judgment on whether they're right or not.
Yeah.
It might also be like, your loved one wouldn't want you to sit at home and be crying all the time.
Totally. Yeah. Or they'd want you to go back to work, or they'd want you to laugh, or they wouldn't want you to be crying.
Or they want you to remarry.
Yeah. So you can insert whatever. Like there's
There's
thousands of things that people could say, and most likely you've heard something like that before. And maybe it's hurt, maybe it's offended you, maybe it's upset you. Maybe you've gone away thinking about it going, that's not exactly true, or I don't know if I believe that. So we're going to explore that today.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know, with your mum, with Claudette, what were some of the things that you've thought about, and have you thought about this previously?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Mum was huge on legacy and know this and do this and this is who you are and that sort of thing.
Know this and do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Super specific.
Super specific. Well, I'm going to get into it. I was trying to think of a word that encompasses those things.
Yeah. So what would be some examples of things that your mum would have loved for you to do or be?
Yeah. So one simple one that she just always drilled into us was know who you are and what you are.
And what was that?
Yeah. So what she was getting at is like, know who you are. I was Kaylee Patterson, loved, supported, cared for. And who am I? I'm a child of God. Like I am,
That's awesome.
Yeah, walking in his authority and his will for my life. So,
And so how does that make you feel?
Yeah, so that...
Or how do you live that out? Like, do you try and live that out?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think her drilling that into us gave us kids...
Sounds like she was an army sergeant.
I know it does, doesn't it? Drilling. But it was more a...
I didn't know your mum, but it doesn't sound like she drilled.
No, she was a gentle soul, but she was a she was specific. Direct and specific. Yeah. So I think her drilling that into us gave us the confidence that we needed, like just to have that in the back of our mind for kids who wouldn't have had those thoughts, not thinking about at an age through school of like, who am I, what do I stand for? I think that definitely gave us an edge. Yeah, like cool. we were known as confident people, I guess, confident out there people.
I love that. Similar in a different light with Dad. So I guess for him, the way that I saw him love others, like, it wasn't that he naturally taught that to us, but it was through witnessing, and just seeing the way he dealt with family, with friends, with clients in business. Just being around that is something that I've taken on and that I try my best. Like, people are hard. It's hard. Situations are messy, and that's what we're sort of talking about. We're talking about that on these episodes, that people don't get things right all the time. And so we need grace.
In daily life and in grief, like it's no different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so seeing him love people, in my old band, I wrote a song about it, that he taught me the way to love. And that's something that I hold close to me. So if someone was to say, he would want you to love others, I'd be okay with that because it's true and I've assessed it. So that's one for me.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that plays out in your life.
And I don't get it right all the time. So let's just get that clear.
Whoever does.
We ain't perfect.
No. Yeah, my mum was also a big people person. So it was, same with her. Her life was just a show of how to love people and how to care for people and how to make an impact.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, people first.
Yeah.
Well, God first and then people, but...
Yeah. One other from Dad was that in a party sort of setting, he was the life of the party. That's not my nature and my personality. People think that I'm extroverted, but I'm not. But one thing that he did in those environments was he made everyone feel seen. And so that's something that I try and, not only honor, but I try and like develop that for myself, just to make sure that everyone's been accounted for and spoken and, been heard and loved. That's a big one for me. Yeah,
likewise. Yeah, Mum was great at that. She also loved leaving people with...
Oh, I was going to say something very similar.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was going to say, loved leaving people better than Dad found them.
Yeah.
That's the sort of the idea.
Yeah, or she loved leaving them with like a nugget to think about or an encouragement or, something like that. She just loved leaving a sentiment or an impact on them, and it's definitely something I could work on, but occasionally it does happen. When people tell me, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I did that, but okay, cool. Like, it's nice when that happens and you're like, oh, that's, a bit of mum, or, I do get it right sometimes, but could definitely consciously think to do that more. Yeah.
I've got two more. How many have you got?
I got one more.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Maybe I'll share.
Okay, you go.
Yeah. I'll save what I feel is best till last. This one's close second. And that was that Dad always, we've mentioned this on previous episodes as well, that he loved his cars. He was involved in cars. He was a mechanic by trade. He helps people find the ideal, perfect dream car that they always wanted. And then with that, he kept all of his cars, like our family cars, just immaculate, spotless. And
See what I have to live up to now, people.
And, you know, one of my first jobs was washing our like car rental business that we had, washing and vacuuming those cars. And I got $1 per wash and $1 per vacuum. And so I worked out if I could wash 5 cars or clean 5 cars, I'd get $10 for the day.
Oh, cashing in.
And that was hours of work. $10. So all the parents out there,
that's how to do it.
That's how to really get your kids working. But keeping cars clean is definitely something that, like, not only do I appreciate our cars clean, but I think of Dad every time I wash or clean our car. And so that's really special. You know, I think about all the times that we cleaned cars together, and I know that he would want to see our cars clean. I just know that that's what he would want. So that's one thing I definitely live out, and you definitely know about.
I definitely know about it. Even before we were married.
Yeah.
Put my foot up on his dash and he was like, well, what are you doing? Yeah. Our second date.
Feet don't go on dashboards, people.
There was no shoes.
What have you got for us?
So Mum was just huge on her faith in God. She was such a rock.
That's my last one as well.
I thought I told you mine. You had one extra. Yeah, she was just always encouraging us to just dig deeper and, yeah, hear God, you know, seek Him, get closer to Him, you know, what's He saying to you. So, you know, I know we all go in waves and seasons, but like, yeah, I just love that her legacy that she built out with that for us just was the absolute pillar for how my grief journey planned out and where I am with my faith today. Like it could just rock so many people, and sure it did, but it didn't rock my faith. I still know God's a good God and Mum's up there with Him, and I know what she'd want for my life, and so it would always be to be close to God.
Oh. Tearing up on me.
You go. It had to happen.
Let's get the tissues out.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's crazy, and why I feel so blessed to be married to you, because I'm so thankful for, you know, the work and the foundations that your mum and dad laid well before I was in the picture, you know, before we got together. And so I'm so thankful, you know, to Claudette and for your dad, Scott, for, you know, all their prayer and their belief and just imparting that into you and your brothers. And it's the same with my dad, you know, his faith was so strong, even in the hardest times, you know, losing his mum, sisters, you know, friends, and I saw him, you know, walk through all that. We were actually, wasn't going to share this, but we were driving to Brisbane. I was going to help him with work one day. I didn't help much, but I just followed him around, and we were finding cars for people. And my auntie, Dad's sister, was in hospital at the time. She had breast cancer. And so we're almost in the city. We're on the freeway and Dad's phone starts ringing, and it's my mum. And so we just pull off the freeway because we know that Mum at the time is in the hospital with my auntie. And so we pull over. Dad answers the phone. It's not on speaker. And I'm just sitting there in the passenger seat. And I know the news that's been delivered that, you know, my auntie just passed, Dad's sister. And he just starts weeping and crying. And it wasn't something that I'd seen, you know, often. Dad, you know, there wasn't a ton of tears around. But, you know, I sat there and, you know, I was a young boy, you know, early teens, I'd say, mid-teens. And seeing Dad just weep over his sister was just something that I'll never forget. And where we'd pulled over, I just looked over to the left of us, you know, there was a light pole outside the window, and on it was a sticker, and on the sticker was a Jesus loves you sign. And it couldn't have been more perfect. And I just grabbed Dad's hand and I said, like, check this out, you know. And it was just one of those moments where God was comforting us, like in this weird physical way, that there was a sticker there someone randomly had put on a pole. We'd pulled off the highway at a random point to hear this news, and Jesus was there with us.
Yeah. So special.
It was powerful. Yeah, I'll never forget that moment. I don't know how I got down this rabbit hole. But probably coming back to faith is like, yeah, Dad coming from Sri Lanka and migrating here, you know, Sri Lanka not being a Christian nation by any means. He gave his heart to God at a Billy Graham crusade here in Australia, and then went on to lead the rest of his family to Christ. And so, you know, that was a really strong upbringing that we had. And it's definitely something that I'm so honored to be able to carry forward. You use the word legacy, and we talk about that a lot. And that's something that it gives me encouragement. It gives me hope when times are tough, to know that we are continuing on a legacy that our parents have laid before us. You know, even though they won't see us in the physical walk in that, we believe they're watching over us. But yeah, definitely a special one that I know Dad would love me to do and be.
So cool. And I think in that moment, he just showed you, you know, it's okay to weep.
Totally.
It's okay to cry over loved ones, losses, disappointments.
Hey, well, the easiest scripture to memorize, right, is Jesus wept.
Jesus did weep.
We were talking about that this week, and he wept over his friend, and he wept for his friends, and he sat in that grief, you know. So let's maybe change the tone now to how, for all those listening, how can we process and think about what our loved ones would have wanted for us, even though they're not here?
Yeah, whether someone tries to tell you what your loved one would want, or whether you are just going through the motions and you want to think about it. Yeah. Because it's a good thing to think about and to know.
Yeah, and it can be really empowering, you know, if you're in the right space and frame to think about this, and you're listening right now. Maybe you're on a walk, maybe you're driving your car, maybe you're just having some quiet time, and you feel like, cool, this could be a moment where you just pull out a pen and paper, or just your notes on your phone. I like to journal a lot in notes, but writing is really cathartic and helps, because it takes those ideas and brings them into reality.
Yeah, or if you're driving, just pause this after we finish and
have a think.
Yeah, have some thoughts.
So I guess what to understand, first of all, is that somebody saying to you, you know, they would want you to be happy. It could be true, but it also might not be the way that you would verbalize, or your loved one would verbalize that thing for you as well. So even though they mean the right intentions, we want to come back to asking ourselves a couple of questions, probably to get us in the space to think about what our loved one would want. So what would be some of those things?
Yeah, I think we want to think about what were their beliefs, what were their values, and what would they want for my life?
Totally. Yeah, and maybe you saw them, outwork that physically, like you actually saw it, or you heard them say something. Yeah,
maybe you actually had this conversation years and years ago, and they just mentioned it.
Yeah, but we know many people don't get to have these conversations before someone dies. And so now, reflecting back, when you've got your journal open, the way we like to do this for ourselves and with clients of ours and friends is we like to write a letter from that person to ourselves. And so if you're writing,
so powerful.
Yeah, if you're writing or typing, just write the words "dear" and insert your name. So it'd be "Dear Ryan," and then follow it by saying, "I would want you to ... fill in the blank." Okay, and that might be I would want you to be. It might be I would want you to do. I might want you to care, to love,
to have.
So you can insert any of those. Are they verbs? Are they adjectives? I'm so bad with my English.
Yeah, they're verbs.
Have. Is that a verb? thought a verb was a doing word. If you know the answer to what a verb is,
well,
let us know.
That's,
yeah? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think. Maybe it's an adverb.
You're always right, so we'll go with that.
I've had a mind blank.
So
some English teacher who's listening can correct us.
Yeah, so go, dear your name, I would want you to, and just take some time to fill in some of those things. Don't feel any pressure that they have to be right. You don't have to show or share this with anybody. That's the cool part about it. But I think when you find some of those things, and some might surprise you in the moment as well, it can really show up in a big way moving forward.
Totally.
It can provide you with hope and a future and a sense of purpose and belonging.
100%.
Yeah. I find it really empowering thinking on the things that I know Dad would have wanted for my life and my family and Mum and my brother.
Yeah.
And when you get to outwork them, it's a sense of connection. Like I feel connected to Dad. It's also a sense of achievement.
Absolutely. And if you never did have these kind of conversations with your loved one, maybe think through what was important to them. And so what was important to them was most likely important for them, for you to have.
Yeah, totally. That can be really special as well.
Yeah.
Great question. Yeah. What was important to them?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you've taken the time or you think you might take the time to do this, we'd love to hear from you as to how you found that exercise. Some other things that might help if it's really difficult is just to set a really short timer on your watch or a phone or whatever, and just set it for 3 minutes, really short amount of time. Go for a walk and have a break after that, or a cup of tea. But if you've...
Treat yourself.
Yeah, treat yourself. I love that. Yeah, definitely do that. Get some chocolate out.
You deserve it.
Mm-hmm. Totally. We can't talk about food at the moment.
You're going to treat yourself at 4 p.m. today.
That's right. I'll be treating myself.
With?
Mexican.
Hey. Hola.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Yes.
That's as far as my Spanish goes. Or Portuguese.
Yeah.
Anyway,
similar. Now you're doing your Sri Lankan head shake.
Cool. Thanks for tuning into the episode. We just want to say we love you. We're believing for you and we're praying for you.
We are definitely praying
and
for you.
And if you're not yet, come and hang out in our Facebook group. There's so much cool stuff going on there, so much support, and the links are
Link
down
is
below. But what's the best thing someone can do if they've listened to this and found value?
Oh, you could share it with someone. That would be the best.
That would be. So we would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we just want to reach more people going through grief or yet to.
And we can't do without you.
Totally. So big love from us, and we'll see you soon.
Ciao.